starts with Ephesus,
Yes.
right? And they go into a line like Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamos, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, Laodicea. And Colossae is not very, the letter to the Colossians is a city, right? These are letters, these are cities in Asia Minor that are very famous in the New Testament. We have letters from St. Paul to these letters, to these cities. For example, you have a letter to Ephesus, right?
Which still exists, Ephesus.
Ephesus, no, it's ruined. It's a ruin. There's nothing existing except like a small village.
No, I'm saying, but the village still is and called Ephesus.
No,
No?
no. It's a small village, but the ruins of Ephesus still there. Colossae, or Colossia, that's a city, a small, very small city next to Laodicea. Laodicea is mentioned in the letter to the Colossians as that St. Paul sent a letter to Laodicea, but we don't have that letter. And he said, the letter that I'm sending you to send to the Laodiceans, let it be read there, and that of the Laodiceans should be read in Colossae. The Laodicea and Hierapolis are two big cities compared to Colossae. So, quick summary of what's going on in the 7. The message to Ephesus, you have left your first love. Next one, Smyrna, be faithful unto death. Smyrna, keep in mind, Smyrna is the city of Polycarp, the bishop, Polycarp. He was burned at stake as a martyr, one of the martyrs. He was martyred in 92. So that book of Revelation has to be written after that, because there was a lot of persecution in Smyrna. Pergamos, remember the city I told you about this city? So the one to Ephesus, you have left your first love, and that's why they think you can link it with that, why we have no city, no Christians in Ephesus today, not a single Christian in the place where it existed. Smyrna, be faithful unto death, and I'll give you the crown of life, because it's the city of martyrs, of very big persecution. Pergamos, they call it the throne of the devil, or the seat of the devil. Why? Because Pergamos is the first city to have a temple dedicated to the emperor, to Caesar. They started a new worship in this city, Pergamos. Thyatira, hold fast what you have till I come. Apparently, they were weakening. Sardis is one of the worst, really, it's the worst letter, because it says, you have a name that you are alive, but you are dead. So this one and 7 is the two that having the hardest time. Philadelphia is almost as good as Smyrna, but not as good. I have set before you an open door. Laodicea, we are neither cold nor hot.
Second worst, isn't it?
That is the second worst. And the second to Sardis. So again, remember with me, Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamos, Thyatira, Philadelphia, Laodicea. Sardis, I missed Sardis, Philadelphia, Laodicea. Ephesus is, return back to your first love. You have left your first love. Smyrna, be faithful unto death. Pergamos, actually I have few things against you. Thyatira, hold fast to what you have till I come. Sardis, you have a name that you are alive but you are dead. Philadelphia is one of the good churches. I have set before you an open door. Laodicea, you're neither cold nor hot.
Which one is Philly?
Philadelphia is the one that says, I have set before you an open door. An open door. You can summarize it even more, right? Summarize more. Let's see. Ephesus, first love. Smyrna, faithful until death. Pergamos, few things against you. Thyatira, hold fast. Sardis, you are dead. Philadelphia, an open door. Laodicea, you're lukewarm. If I ask you, what is Philadelphia? What is the summary?
Open door.
Open door. How about Sardis?
Sardis,
Dead.
you are
Dead
dead.
You're dead, right. How about Laodicea? Lukewarm. How about Ephesus?
First love.
First love.
First love. How about Thyatira?
Hold
Hold
fast.
Hold fast, right? How about Smyrna?
That's the faithful one.
Faithful
That's the best
till
one.
death. Yes. Okay. So if you remember those, it would be easy to remember
What's
the.
Pergamos?
Yeah, Pergamos as well.
Pergamos is I have things, a few things against you. This is where the throne of the devil. Okay. Let's go back and read. Remember how we divided the book last time? Let's go and review that one too. We have part of the book that happened or describes events that happened on earth, although it's a vision. And that is chapter 1, with the introduction, the greeting, the prologue in general, and John's vision of the Son of Man. That's chapter 1. How about chapter 2 and 3? The letters to the churches. It's this paper, this one. Chapter 2 and 3 are the 7 letters to the 7 churches. We're going to have a summary. We're actually currently studying them. And so this is the first part, which happened on earth. And at the end of chapter 3, he says, I saw a door open in heaven and a voice calling me, come up. So whatever is going to happen next is going to be all shown in heaven. So in 4 to 16, it's all about warnings, which is the major part of the book. 4 to 16. Chapter 4 to chapter 16. And we can divide them into 3 groups. The 7 seals, 4 to 7. The 7 trumpets, 8 to 14. And the last 2 chapters, 15 and 16, the 7 bowls. And we said how they actually happen one after another. When the Lamb opened the seals, he would open the first, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. When he opened the 7th, it will begin a series of trumpets, 7 trumpets. And when the last trumpet, the 7th trumpet is blown, it will open a series of bowls that will be poured on the earth. So 4 to 7, 7 seals. And the seventh seal will lead to 8 to 14, 7 trumpets. And the 7th trumpet, when it's blown, it will open up the vision about the 7 bowls, 15 to 16. Then 17 to 20 is the judgment of Babylon, the beast, and Satan. That's the 3rd part. And the 4th part is the new heaven and the new earth. That's 2 last chapters, 21 to 22. Okay. So if I tell you, what do you find in chapter 17 to 20? What would you say?
The judgment of Babylon.
Okay. How about chapter 2 and 3?
John's vision. 7 letters.
And what if I say 21, 22?
New heaven and new earth.
Where would you find the 7 trumpets?
8 to 14. 8 to 14.
It's 8 to 14. Where would you find the bowls?
15.
15 and 16, right? Okay. Now, when you go to the next page, it talks about the letters, and last time we said there is a format of how the letters are addressed. They are addressed first to the angels of the 7 churches. How would we interpret the angels of the 7 churches? The angels could be the guardian angels of the church communities. Like each church has a guardian angel that takes care of the church. How about another interpretation? That would be the pastoral leadership of these local churches. the persons who take care of them. That means the bishops. Or it is the spirit that prevails in the community. Like, what kind of spirit that prevails? Like, for example, if I go to one of the churches and say, you have a generous spirit, you're very generous with the poor, that's the spirit I'm talking to. Or you have a stubborn spirit, that people there are very obstinate. Or you have a lukewarm spirit that is very wishy-washy. So this could be the guardian angels, the pastoral leadership, or the personification of the prevailing spirit, or simply the messengers responsible for delivering the letters. And the word angel, or the term angel, is used more than 60 times in Revelation. They are the ones to carry the messages and to carry things that God sends to the earth. I'm least inclined to say it is the fourth. What is the problem with the angel? When Christ is saying to them, I'm going to vomit you out of my mouth. That's the messenger, right? Why would he be punished? So I think it's mostly one of the three first, and maybe it is the second. It is the second, because the leader is the one responsible for setting up the mood for the church. If the leader is good, the church succeed. If the leader is not good, the church is a big failure. And God protect the leaders. That's on them. There's a lot of risk. Okay, what is the format of every letter? One is John is commanded to write to the angel. So write to the angel of the church of so and so. Then a short introduction of Christ with a descriptive title follows. The description actually is taken from the vision of John of Christ. In the beginning he saw him with his eyes like flaming fire, with his tongue like a double-edged sword, with his feet and legs are like brass, that's in the furnace. So every time he speaks, he brings out from this vision that whatever is suitable for the church. Like I said, when he says, I know your works, then he is talking with the knowledge. And we give a description of each of those aspects. A short introduction of Christ with a descriptive title follows. Then the third section of the letter, the state of the church is summarized, beginning with Jesus saying, I know, followed by praise or rebuke. The fourth one is exhortation, what is needed to be corrected, a correction. Then the fifth is message concludes with, he who has ear to hear, let him hear, and the special promise to him who overcomes. There's always promises at the end. Promises of something to be rewarded for. So one, the command to write, short introduction of Christ with description, a state of the church, exhortation, which means rebuke, if there is ever rebuke. Some of the churches didn't have any rebuke. The message concludes with, he who has ears to hear, let him hear. And this is a summary of all the 7 churches, and we're going to go through them. Last time we studied Ephesus, him who holds the 7 stars and walks among the 7 candlestands. I know your deeds and perseverance. I know. That's what it is. Starts with I know. Your deeds and perseverance. You have forsaken your first love. Repent and do the things that you did first. You will eat of the tree of life in the paradise. That's how he is promising the church of Ephesus when they return to their first love. And we talked last time about what happened. He says, remember from where you fell and repent. And we said where we fell means it's about a sin or something that we have done. And it's a common place where people actually lose their zeal for God. As they start by getting a little bit cold or lukewarm, and then they fall into a temptation, and then what happens? A person kind of think that he is not going to be the same. I've lost my status with God. But here's an encouragement. Go back. Find where you fell from and go back to that spot. When you were feeling so special, you're the child of God. Go to that same spot. I said about the prodigal son, when he left his father, when he came back, he found him in the same spot. When he sent him away with tears, his father sent him away with tears. And I'm sure he walked with him as far as he could walk. and let him go. And when the son came back, he found him exactly in the same spot with the same tears, but now it's tears of joy. Now we went to Smyrna. Well, let's read Smyrna because I think we started last time. And to the angel of the church in Smyrna, write these things, says the first and the last, who was dead and came to life. I know your works, tribulation and poverty. And I said the description here talks about death and life. Why? Description of Christ, because Smyrna is what? We said that. It's facing persecution, right?
Chapter 2,
So,
verse 8.
Yeah, because the Smyrna is facing persecution, he has to describe himself to them as one who went through death, and he is alive. Now he has a power over death. I know your works, tribulations, and poverty, but you are rich, and I know the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews and not, but the synagogue of Satan. Apparently they were persecuted also by the Jewish communities there. Not fear any of those things which you are about to suffer. Indeed, the devil is about to throw some of you into prison that you may be tested, and you will have tribulation 10 days. Be faithful unto death, and until death, and I will give you the crown of life. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. He who overcomes shall not be hurt by the second death. And we went through that, right? We looked at what is the second death, and we said there's a difference between first resurrection, second resurrection, first death, and second death. What's the first resurrection? An hour will come, and we read this in chapter 5 in St. John. Those who hear the word, who hears the voice of the Son of God will live. And then an hour will come, he says, in the future, when those in the tombs will hear the voice of the Son of Man, and those who will hear will come to the resurrection. Those who had done of righteousness, and those who had done evil to the resurrection of condemnation. So there's two resurrections. The first one is when we hear the word and kind of respond, the word of Christ, truly hear it. And the second one is resurrection of the body. But what is the first and second death? The first death is the death of the body. In the book of Revelation, we came to realize the second death is to be thrown into, God forbid, the lake of fire. That's the second death. So he said, those who overcome shall not be hurt by the second death. The second death will not have no power over them. So we all want to have part in the second resurrection, but we don't want to have anything to do with the second death. This is the difference. Now we come to the third church. We said the first church is Ephesus. The second is Smyrna. So how about the third? Which one is that? Pergamos. And I said Pergamos is the place where they have the seat of the devil. That's what they describe it as in the book of Revelation, because of the worship of the emperor, of Caesar. And to the angel of the church in Pergamos write, these things says he who has the sharp two-edged sword. Now we're coming to a hurtful image, right? The first one was the one who holds the stars, the stars in his hands, and walks among the golden lampstands. The second one was the Alpha, the beginning and the end, the one who was dead and now is alive. But this one has the two-edged sword. I know your works, and where you dwell, where Satan's throne is, and you hold fast to my name, and did not deny my faith even in the days which Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was killed among you where Satan dwells. Who is Antipas? He was the bishop of Pergamos, and he was killed in 92. 92, not Polycarp, actually, that's Antipas. He was the bishop in Pergamos, and he was a disciple also of St. John, and he was martyred 1992. So this book was written after 92 AD. 92 AD. So he had to be there, the book written after 92. But I have few things against you, because you have there those who hold the doctrine of Balaam. who told Balak to put a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed to idols, and to commit sexual immorality. Thus you also have those who hold the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, or the Nicolaitans, which thing I hate. Repent, or else I will come to you quickly, and will fight against them with the sword of my mouth. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. To him who overcomes, I will give some of the hidden manna to eat, and I will give him a white stone, and on the stone a new name written, which no one knows except him who receives it. Now there is few things here to talk about. First, he talks about three persons. One is Antipas, that's the martyr, but the other two persons is Balaam and Balak, that's one story, and Nicholas or Nicolaitans. So who is Balaam? What did he do? Let's go and read a little bit about Balaam, because it seems like it's important. Go to Numbers 22, 24 in the Old Testament. 22, 24. So what did let's go a little bit earlier and go to 22. Go to 22 from the beginning. Now the children of Israel broke camp and camped west of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. So when Balak the son of Zippor saw all that Israel did to the Amorites, the Israelites are coming too many, and Moab was irritated because of the children of Israel. Then Moab said to the elders of Midian, now this congregation would lick up everything around us, as a young bull licks up the grass of the field. Now Balak the son of Zippor was king of the Moabites at that time. Then he sent ambassadors to Balaam the son of Beor at Bethor, which is near the river, in the land of the sons of his people, to call him, saying, look, a people came from Egypt. By the way, Balaam was found written in some of the inscriptions in the temples and on some of the walls of the archaeological discoveries in the area where, I forgot, it was Lebanon or Syria. It was a very famous prophet, very famous in his time. Like, you want to find something that you don't know where it is, you go to Balaam. You want to curse somebody, you go to Balaam. You want to make it was a very famous magician or prophet. So he sent to him because he was famous. Therefore come, he said in 6, at once, and curse this people for me, for they are stronger than we. If we would be able to strike some of them, then I could drive them out of the land, for I know he whom you bless is blessed, and he whom you curse is cursed. He's saying that to Balaam. So the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian departed from their divinations, with their divinations in their hand, and they came to Balaam and spoke to him the word of Balak. And he said to them, lodge here tonight, and I will bring back to you whatever words the Lord may speak to me. So the princes of Moab stayed with Balaam. God then came to Balaam and said to him, who are these men with you? So Balaam said to God, Balak the son of Zippor, king of Moab, sent to me, saying, look, a people came out of Egypt, and they covered the face of the earth, and are settling next to me. Therefore come at once and curse them for me. Perhaps I shall be able to strike them and drive them from the land. Then God said to Balaam, you shall not go with them, neither shall you curse the people, for they are blessed. So Balaam rose in the morning and said to the rulers of Balak, return to your land, your Lord, for God is not allowing me to go with you. Therefore the rulers of Moab rose and went to Balak and said, Balaam is unwilling to come with us. Balak yet again sent rulers, more numerous and more honorable than these. When they came to Balaam, they said to him, thus says Balak the son of Zippor, I beg you not to hesitate in coming to me, for I will certainly honor you greatly, and I will do whatever you say. Therefore come and curse this people for me. Then Balaam answered and said to the rulers of Balak, though Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not go beyond the word of the Lord God, to make it little or great in my mind. Now therefore stay here tonight. Yes, Alam. Wow. Yeah, so he's so faithful, and he would not do anything. But why are you keeping them? So we know what more the Lord will say to me. So already you heard the Lord saying no. Thus God came to Balaam at night and said to him, if these men are present to summon you, rise and follow them. But the word I speak to you, that you shall do. This was not done with a glad heart from God's part. He said, okay, so you're insisting. You started to think about it, right? You started to think about the money that the king will give you. Okay, go. But don't say anything until I tell you to say. So Balaam rose in the morning and saddled his donkey and went with the rulers of Moab. And then God was very angry because he went, and the angel of God stationed himself to divert him from his purpose. The angels were angry. Now he was riding on his donkey, and his 2 servants were with him. When the donkey saw that the angel of God standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand, the donkey turned aside out of the way and went into the field. So Balaam struck the donkey with his staff to turn her back onto the road. Then the angel of God stood in the narrow path between the vineyards, with a wall on this side and the wall on that side. And when the donkey saw the angel of God, she pushed herself against the wall and crushed Balaam's foot. So he struck her again. Then the angel of God went and stood in the narrow place where there was no way to turn, neither to the right hand or the left. So when the donkey saw the angel of God, she laid down under Balaam. It's unheard of. The donkeys lay down with the rider on their back. It's unheard of. So she lay down under Balaam, and Balaam became angry and struck the donkey with his staff. Then God opened the mouth of the donkey. God was merciful on the donkey because he was beating her up. He doesn't see what's going on. So, and she said to Balaam, what have I done to you that you struck me this 3rd time? I mean, the poor thing. Balaam then said to the donkey, and he didn't mind her talking. This is the second surprise. Because you abused me, I wish there were a sword in my hand, for now I would kill you. So the donkey said to Balaam, am I not your donkey on which you rode from your youth to this very day? Did I ever, it's an old lady, she's not young. Did I ever show such utter disregard for you? He replied, no. Then God opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand. And he bowed and worshipped. The angel of God then said to him, why did you strike your donkey a 3rd time? He said, the first 2 I can understand, but the 3rd one nobody, not even the donkey could understand. Behold, I came out as your adversary. I was about to kill you, because your way was not acceptable before me. Here it is, the angel of the Lord. That's not any angel. That's the Son. So when the donkey saw me, she turned aside from me this 3rd time. Link this to the sword in Revelation. Right? If she had not turned aside from me, surely I would have killed you by now and let her live. Then Balaam said to the angel of the Lord, I sinned, for I did not know you met me as an adversary on the Lord. Now therefore, if my way is not acceptable to you, I will turn back. The angel of God then said to Balaam, go with the men, but only the word I may speak to you, this you must be careful to speak. So Balaam went with the rulers of Balak. So apparently sometimes God let us do what we want, because he insisted. I mean, if God told me not to go do something, why am I receiving the people and let them stay and ask God again? It's not.
But then God said, go.
Okay, after 2 times, God will let us be. Okay, do it. But then he is not something that according to his heart.
So why didn't he just say no again?
He told them the first time. He told them, don't ever try, because the king wants you to go to curse these people. That's the king doesn't want anything from you. He wants you to curse the Israelites. I've already blessed them.
But Balaam is a prophet of God?
Here is the thing.
Yeah.
He is a prophet. Okay, you will understand that this is a gift. It is not a sainthood. He's not a saint. It's a gift. He has the ability to commune with God, with the spirits, especially. I mean, in this case, it was God. So not all the prophets are. That makes us very careful not to seek spiritual gifts. I want to be a saint, not gifted. I'm not interested in making miracles, and the church would warn against that, or commune with heaven, because that puts a lot of pressure.
People don't seek it, it's given to them, right? And that's why
Yes.
it's called gift.
No, it's a gift. Yes.
Are there people who seek?
St. Paul in Corinthians says, seek spiritual gifts, but more to prophesy rather than to speak in tongues. You can seek it. You can.
You can pray about it.
Yes. Let's finish Balak and I'll go to this. Now, when Balak heard Balaam was coming, he went out to meet him at the city of Moab, which is on the borders of Arnon, the boundaries of his territory. Then Balak said to Balaam, did I not earnestly send to summon you? Why did you not come to me? Am I not actually able to honor you? Balaam then said to Balak, look, I did come to you. Shall I now be able to say anything? Now, Yani, get done with it, Yani. So don't give me trouble. Don't give me a hard time. Whatever word God may put in my mouth, this I must speak. That sounds good, right? So Balaam went with Balak, and they came to unwalled encampments. Then Balak sacrificed sheep and young bulls, and he sent some to Balaam and to the rulers with him. When morning came, Balak took Balaam and brought him up to the pillar of Baal, and he showed him part of the people from there, the Israelites. Now Balaam said to Balak, build 7 altars for me here, and prepare for me here 7 young bulls and 7 rams. So Balak did just as Balaam had spoken, and he offered a young bull and a ram on each altar. Then Balaam said to Balak, stand alongside your sacrifices. I will go, perhaps God will reveal himself to me in a meeting, and I will tell you whatever word he shows me. What do you expect? Is God like a man? He's going to change his word? So Balak stood alongside his sacrifice, and Balaam went on a direct road to inquire of God. Thus God revealed himself to Balaam, and Balaam said to him, also God reveals himself at the sacrifice. I prepared 7 altars and offered on each altar a young bull and a ram. And God put a word in Balaam's mouth and said, return to Balak, and thus you shall speak. So he returned to him, and there he was standing alongside his burnt offerings, and all the rulers of Moab with him. Then the Spirit of God came upon him, and he took up his parable and said, Balak, the king of Moab, summoned me from Mesopotamia. That's where he comes from. So I told you he came from around Syria and Iraq. From the mountains of the east, saying, come, curse Jacob for me, and come, call down a curse upon Israel. How shall I curse whom the Lord did not curse? Or how shall I call down a curse upon whom God did not curse? For from the top of the mountains I see him, and from the hills I envision him. Behold, the people shall dwell alone, shall not be reckoned among the nations. They are very special people, holy people. Who can examine accurately the seed of Jacob and number the tribes of Israel? May my soul die with the souls of the righteous, and may my seed be as their seed. But Balak said to Balaam, what have you done to me? I summoned you to curse my enemies, and look, you have blessed them bountifully. Then Balaam said to Balak, should I not be careful to speak whatever God may put into my mouth? This as far, and then he said a prophecy. And the prophecy included a star. They say that's the star. When he went back, he talked about the star, and the Magi came and followed him. So let me go back to another verse from, let's go to Numbers 25, 1, by the end of the book of Numbers, closer to the end. Now, Ezra 25, 1 to 4. Now Israel remained in Satain, and the people were defiled by committing fornication with the daughters of Moab, the priestesses of the temples of Baal. They invited them to the sacrifices of their idols, and the people ate their sacrifices and worshipped their idols. So Israel consecrated themselves to Baal of Peor, and the Lord was very angry with Israel. Then the Lord said to Moses, take all the rulers of Israel, of the people, and make a public example of them, for the Lord, that the anger of the Lord's wrath may be turned away from Israel. So Moses said to the tribes of Israel, each one of you kill any member of his household who was consecrated to Baal of Peor. Now, another one. So this is what happened at the end. 31:16. Actually 15, start 15. So Moses said to them, why did you take every female alive? For on account of Balaam's counsel, they were with the sons of Israel, and caused them to depart from and despise the Lord's word in the incident at Peor with the Baal, when there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord. Now therefore kill every male among the little ones and every woman who slept with a man. That's about the Moabites. Okay? So who did give the counsel to do this? Balaam told, that's what we get, like you gather between the lines, that because Balak asked him to curse them, he didn't. God said, don't curse them because I already blessed them, and he was angry with them. He said, okay, I cannot curse them for you, but I have a counsel. Turn on them the priestesses of the temples of Baal, and they would lead them to do the sexual immorality and then worship Baal, and then you can, kill two birds with one stone, make them worship idols and commit adultery. And this is the worship of Baal. So when they did this, they cursed themselves. This is the trick of Balaam. When they entered the promised land, in Joshua, they killed them. They looked for Balaam and killed them. So in 2 Peter 2:15 also, starts from the false teachers, talking about false teacher from 2 Peter chapter 2 verse, start from 12. But these, like natural brute beasts, made to be caught and destroyed, speak evil of the things they do not understand, and will utterly perish in their own corruption, and will receive the wages of unrighteousness, as those who counted pleasure to carouse in the daytime. They are spots and blemishes, carousing in their own deceptions, while they feast with you, having eyes full of adultery, and they cannot cease from sin, enticing unstable souls. They have a heart trained in covetous practice, and are accursed children. They have forsaken the right way and gone astray, following the way of Balaam the son of Beor, who loved the wages of unrighteousness. But he was rebuked for his iniquity. A dumb donkey, speaking with a man's voice, restrained the madness of the prophet. These are wells without water, clouds carried by them. Wells without water is promising water, but they don't have it. Jude 11 has the same thing. He speaks about the same type of people. Jude is one chapter. This is verse 11. Jude is the one before Revelation, immediately. Woe to them, for they have gone in the way of Cain, have run greedily in the error of Balaam for profit, and perished in the rebellion of Korah.
It's amazing how it all went down. Really.
It's mind-boggling to
It's
find it.
mind-boggling, yeah. It's almost like there's no way
I want to show you where is Balaam killed.
So Balaam ended up being killed?
Yes,
For
they
all of
killed
what
him
he did?
in Joshua.
So in a small scenario, if Balaam would listen the first time with God, none of all this would have happened. But Balaam...
If he took the no and he kept the no.
Oh, I want a little summary again. If he took
The story
the...
of the donkey is always so funny.
You see it again?
The story of the donkey.
Yeah.
But he was given
It's always so
many
funny.
chances. It was
Who,
not
Balaam?
just one chances. He was given many chances.
to not do this.
Right.
لكن ازاي prophet وعمل كده ازاي I just don't understand that.
It's, the prophecy here is a gift.
Can it be a gift to a not a man of God, يعني?
It's the prophets speak about it. Micah, for example, says something. Oh my people, remember now, that's Micah, what King Balak of Moab is rebuking them. He says, what King Balak of Moab plotted against you. That's God rebuking through Micah. What answer Balaam the son of Beor gave to him from the reeds as far as the Gilgal, that the righteousness of the Lord might be known. Like even when you don't know, God is protecting you. You know, He's turning away that evil, even if you don't know. But that's another side to the story. But in Joshua, he was killed. They entered there and they looked for him and they killed him. Because God said to have to finish this man, well, Moses told them, because he did this trick. He laid a trap for Israel. He said, I cannot do it. Let them do it to themselves.
So all this because of the money?
Yes. This is exactly true.
So it's not only this day and age, yeah.
Yes. So this is the problem of Balaam. So what does Balaam do when he says, I have few things against you because you have there those who hold the doctrine of Balaam. So what can you gather from this? Who taught Balak to put a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed to idols and to commit sexual immorality. He's comparing this to, thus you also have those who hold the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, which thing I hate. Who is the Nicolaitans? They say it is in Acts 7. If you go to Acts 7, there is a name there. Most of the fathers of the church, and many of them, said this is the same person who apostatized, meaning turned back from the faith. Uh, 7 or 6? 6 actually. Chapter 6 in Acts. Verse 5. And the saying pleased the whole multitude, and they chose Stephen, a man full of faith and the Holy Spirit, and Philip, that's different than Philip the apostle, Prochorus, Nicanor, Timon, Parmenas, and Nicholas, a proselyte from Antioch. They say that because they actually specified that he was specifically that person. Apparently there's something known about him. So the Nicolaitans, they say, the fathers of the church, that he turned away from Christ and started this heresy. We don't know for sure, but that's how they refer it to. And what is his heresy involved? People going back to worship idols and sexual immorality, to kind of give license to be loose in the church. Thus you also have those who hold the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, which thing I hate, to eat things sacrificed to idols and to commit sexual immorality. This is exactly what happened with, not to worship directly, but to eat the sacrifices to idols. So those ones in Pergamos.
You mean like the Hindus do now, Abuna? How they sacrifice the food in front of the god and then they eat it? Did you ever see it? It still happens.
So this is a compromising church. So, or else I would come quickly and fight you against them with the sword of my mouth. Remember how Balaam had to meet the angel, and the angel has the angel of the Lord, and the angel of the Lord in the Old Testament is Christ. Christ, the angel of the Lord. That's why if you go back to the Old Testament and read the account, and the angel says "my" with a capital M.
Abuna, I'm sorry. Dr. George says when it says that it's the appearance of Christ, it's not the incarnation.
No, it's not the incarnation.
So when the three appeared to, Abraham, it was Christ and the two angels, but it was an appearance, but it didn't have flesh. We all got confused of that.
It is difficult to say. This is a mystery. We don't know exactly yet, because he washed their feet,
Yeah.
and he fed them.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently the angels, when they can, they want, they can. They can have appearance of flesh and they can transform, yes. But the idea is that he appeared with a sword in his hand. And this image in Pergamos, so we can link things together, he talks about Balaam, comparing him to Nicolaitans, and the thing that Balaam did is this church allowing to happen, church in Pergamos, and Christ is appearing with a sword. It's almost like deja vu. Like you want, I'm not going to allow this, and I'm going to do the same way that the angel of the Lord did in the Old Testament. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. To him who overcome, I will give some of the hidden manna to eat, and I will give him a white stone, and on the stone a new name, written which no one knows except him who receives it. What is the hidden manna? Any idea?
Wasn't this the one that they kept and it didn't rot?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's always known as the immortality, medicine of immortality, something to keep people from dying. So this is the hidden manna, the eternal life, the stuff, the food of eternal life. I will give him a white stone, and on the stone a new name written which no one knows except him who receives it. It's a status, a new status, not just only eternal life, but a status. It's almost like a secret, a mystery between the person and Christ. That Christ has a new name for us. What is that new name? And it's very encouraging to say that, yes, you might have sins now, you might have things that you are ashamed of, but Christ is calling us to a status that I and Him knows. And that status just needs to overcome. So whoever ever overcome, I will give them. So if we overcome the stumbling block that is in our way, we're invited to have this new status, this new name, that new relationship. That I'm called to something. I don't know what it is. Is it a mission? Is it a service? Is it a new relationship with God and through Christ? Whatever it is waiting for me to take it when I overcome. And in addition, I'm going to have eternal life. So remember what St. Paul said to Timothy. Whoever cleanses himself of this will be a useful vessel for the Master. Whoever cleanses himself from certain actions or sins or habits, God will be able to use him. And it's very encouraging, actually. Very, very encouraging. Think that Christ is holding this for me and says, come and take it, and it's going to be yours. But just overcome what you have now. Okay, so this is the church of Pergamos. Okay? Now, you know, from now on, whatever you can't understand in the book of Revelation, it has a root. In the Old Testament, you have to get and grasp. And when you get the root, it opens up a lot of issues, and you will be able to understand. All right. One thing we learned today, and this is something new for me, that God protects us from things that we don't see. There's a lot of accusation, a lot of cursing that happens, that the devil and our enemies are trying very hard. And God is the one who says, can you imagine that God stands in the way of the man who rides on the donkey and says, don't hurt my people. It's going to be the worst for you. I'm going to kill you. What's that? Lead us not into temptation, but protect us from evil, deliver us from the evil one. And He does, all the time. All the time. It is one thing is to know that God has protected you from something. Another thing to know that before even you wake up in the morning, He had went ahead and cleared the way and protected you and supported you. And every time we say let's give thanks, and we thank you for every condition concerning it, because you have supported us, protected us. We know that there's are things in the life that is very hidden from us, but we know that God is taking care of it.